Hey all, welcome. So this is a that tutorial of PyQT in which we are going to run the code for simple window app. As we have seen in the last tutorial regarding the setup and the code discussion for the simple window app. Now let's go ahead and run the code. So before running the code, I would suggest you to install the PyQT in PyCharm if you are using the PyCharm IDE for running the code. So for doing that, you need to go to settings and go to project interpreter and you'll have PyQt5 and PyQt5 zip and PyQt5 stubs. You need to install all these three packages by just double clicking on that and clicking on the install package. Once you are clicking on install package, the package will get installed. So in order to get these things, you need to work on the terminal, which is by clicking on that and providing the code as pip install pyqt5 5. By doing so, you will get installed your PyQt5. So let's go ahead and run the code. As we discussed in the last tutorial, there are 5 steps for creating a simple window app. That is, the first step is import PyQt module, where you will be importing the system, followed by you'll be importing Q application, Q widget, and Q icon from pyqt5.qwidgets and qtgui. Let's copy these and run the code. Here we go, I'm copying it and I'm going to paste in IDI. So here we go, we have used the required libraries, and the next step what we are going to do is we are going to define a method where we will define the title, left, top, width and height, and followed by creating creating a method called initUI. So we are going to copy this and paste the code accordingly. Here we go. So what happens over here, we have opened the class and used the Q widget which we have imported inside the app parentheses and define the method called initialize, which is init underscore underscore init underscore underscore, and inside the parentheses we have used the self keyword and use the superclass to make sure to have the accessible of title, left, top, with height in the method of initUI which we are going to create it now. So this is the first method we have created it, in which we have defined title, left, top, width and height. Now we are going to define the second method, which will be defining the title and using the self.title, self.left, self.top, self.width and self.height, which we have defined in the first method of initializing, like definition of init. So let's go ahead and copy this code. Here we go. So we have finally defined the init UI, which is referring to this. So we have defined the init UI, and inside the parentheses we have used the self keyword, and by using self dot set window title, and inside the parentheses we are referring to this PyQt5 simple window, which is the header of the window, and followed by using set geometry we are defining self dot left, self dot top and self dot width and self dot height, which have been defined in the first method, which is this one, dot left, top, width and height. And lastly we are going to use the self dot show to make sure to enable the window app, and we are going to create the main method in which we are going to define the app and a variable called x in which we are going to store the app method app class, and lastly we are going to use the sys.exit, which is system.exit, and inside the parentheses we are going to call the app, which is this q application and system.argv. So this is referring to this this is referring to this app dot execute underscore and followed by closing the bracket. Let's go ahead and copy this code and paste it over here. So here we go. we'll just make some arrangements. Here we go, we have made the arrangements and defined the if as well. So we have defined the main method, and inside the main method we have created an object called app, in which we have used the queue application which we have imported from PyQtify.QWidgets, and inside the parentheses we have forwarding the sys which we have imported dot argument which is argv. So here we go, and then lastly we have created a variable called x in which we have stored the app, and lastly we are going to execute the app by providing sys.app exit, and inside the parentheses we have called on the app which is this dot execute underscore by closing the bracket. Let's now go ahead and run the program and see whether we get the window in which we have the PyQtify simple window header. We are going to run this program. Let's now go ahead and run the program and look for the output. Here we go, we have got the output. It is a PyQt5 simple window, and along with minimize, maximize and the close option. So we have created the simple PyQt5 like simple window using PyQt5. So that's it for today. Meanwhile, I'll explain the code what happened. So in the main application, we have called on the app. So what will happen, it will come over here, like it will print out the PyQt5 simple window as a header along with self.left top with an height of the 10, 10, 640 and 480. And inside the init UI, we are using the set window title and set geometry inside that as told earlier, which is self.title top left with height and everything, like we are going to define it inside the parentheses, and we are going to use the show self.show to make sure to enable the window. So here we go, we have got the output which is a PyQt5 simple window. Here we can maximize, then minimize, and at the end of it I can close the application also. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining. See you in next tutorials. Bye guys.